Potential client asks you what you charge, and suddenly your brain glitches, and you either clam up or you find yourself offering somebody a discount that didn't exist 5 seconds before they ask you that question, or you're over explaining yourself. And one of the things that I want you to do is I want to help you figure out how exactly to say what you charge in a simpler way that brings you a lot less stress. So, as somebody who has been in business for a long time and started out really feeling very awkward about what I charged, all the business things, right? I am your classic example of this wasn't what I thought I was going to be doing. But what I want you to understand is number one, you have to know that number before you walk in the door. And I know that sounds like a no-brainer. Of course, I know how much I charge. But the truth is, if you don't really know that number, if you're not committed to that number, if you feel wishy-washy about that number, people can tell. So I want you to know that number before you go in the room. And that is not like, don't be thinking about discounts. Be thinking about, here is my base price. Start there. Uh, right. Can you change it? Absolutely. But let people tell you where they feel later. Don't negotiate from the start, right? Here is my fee, period. Um, I want you to think about using your contract as a way to do the heavy lifting on what you charge. And what I mean by that is I started doing this as a trick for myself as a brand new doula. I would go to an interview. I knew the question was going to come up. This is where they should be asking, how much for all these wonderful things that you do? And I had a really hard time talking about my fee. So, what I would do is I first realized that they often would ask me, right? One or two questions, and then they really couldn't think of anything else to ask. I knew they had questions, but they didn't even know how to articulate it, right? They didn't know what they didn't know, and they didn't know what to ask. And so I would bring my contract, and as soon as I realized that they were getting to a point in the conversation where maybe they didn't feel like they had questions they could ask or felt a little unsure, I jumped in and said, "Hey, I know you have some questions. I brought my contract. Why don't we start looking at this? I know it's going to help you think of questions that are on the tip of your tongue right now." And they always looked very relieved. Yes, let's do that. And I don't read my contract word for word, but I use the headers to point to things. And when I would get to that last section that talked about what I charged, I really remember feeling like I was reading it. And for me, that was a benefit. My fee is, I charge X. It is due at X time, right? Like just reading it felt very different than saying it for me. That's one of the ways that I got really used to talking about my fee was feeling like I was reading it. So if that is helpful for you, right, that is a great tip to think about trying, right? Read it straight off your contract. The next thing is once you've read that number, whether you've read it or whether you have said it, I want you to say the number, and there's a big fat period at the end of that sentence. In a not so delicate way that I sometimes say is shut up. Say that number and shut up. Don't talk anymore. How many times have you watched people, and not necessarily just doulas, but anybody, where they say their fee and the next thing you know, they're apologizing for it? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it includes, they're justifying it, right? Maybe even talking themselves out of charging it. Don't do that. Just be quiet. If they have questions about that, let them ask. But other than that, I want you to be quiet. Let them ask any follow-up questions that they have, but let that sit there, right? Your fee is whatever it is. And I want you to understand that you are the one feeling the discomfort. That's you. And if you own it, then you understand when it happens why you feel that discomfort. And that's what I want you to think about, right? I'm the one feeling uncomfortable. They may be thinking, wow, we're being quiet because we don't want this doula to charge us more. That's a steal. And literally, I have had people say that to me, right? So as you're reading your contract, as you are being quiet, right? I want you to just say it. Now, one of the other questions that often comes up is what about listing your fee on your website? And you are going to hear a lot of doulas who swear their way is the right way. And I'm not going to give you grief, whatever you do, as long as you've thought about it, made a choice that's right for you, watched your data, and, have that proof that that choice is the right one for you. But what I will tell you is that time and time again, research shows us that people in millennial and younger generations who are the folks having babies today, they want to see your prices. And if you're feeling uncomfortable about saying your price, you may also feel uncomfortable about listing your price. And so, what I want you to do is, I want you to have that same list it and be quiet, right? I want you to just put it out there. For example, a gentle way to say that you have right, a fee that has different options is starting at list your bottom fee, right? Or a range. Now, I will tell you sometimes I see people who make ranges like 0 to $2,500. That's not super helpful, right? That does not really tell people what it is. And like, are you really going to work if everybody came and said, I want $0, I want to pay $10? No, that's not sustainable business practices. Now, can you also on your website have I am open to bartering, I am open to payment arrangements, I take FSA, like whatever it is you do, feel free to go ahead and put that on your website. Amazing things to put on the website. And, right, tell them how it works. If they're interested in that, what do they need to do? The number of people who just say, oh, okay, this doula is in my price range may actually really surprise you. Now, my last bit of advice here is to practice before it counts. And I always tell everybody, like, once you have decided on what your fee is, and remember, your fee is only that fee that one time you say it. If you say it and you realize, I am not charging enough, right? That's a whole separate video, right? But if you say, I'm not charging enough, you can change it the next time. But I always tell people, practice it in the shower, say it in the mirror, say it to your pets and your people. Say it over and over. I charge blank so that you get used to the flow and how it sounds coming out of your mouth. That is going to be really helpful. So, your fee is information. It is not a judgment on how much you are worth. It is not a measure of satisfaction. It is just a number. It is a price point, nothing more. So keep that in mind. If you found this helpful, make sure you subscribe so you can catch next week's video. And don't forget to check out the doula fee calculator below in case you're wondering what should that number look like for you.